Well, thanks for joining us on BloombergQuint. This is Q2 with BloombergQuint. HCL has come up with really strong numbers. To talk more about the quarter gone by and what lies ahead of the company, joining me is the management of HCL Technologies. Joining me is C. Vijayakumar, the Chief Executive Officer, the President, and Prateek Aggarwal, the Chief Financial Officer. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time and speaking to BloombergQuint. Indeed, pleasure. We'll start with you. CVK, how are you assessing the quarter gone by? And if we keep aside the IBM, how do you see the organic growth coming along?
It's been a fantastic quarter for us. I mean, I'm really proud that HCLites across the world have delivered a fantastic performance. As you can see, overall, we delivered 6% quarter-on-quarter growth. But what's more exciting is almost 20.5% year-on-year growth. Right. Of that, close to 14% plus is organic growth. So it's a very strong performance. Added to that, we delivered a 20% EBIT, which is almost a 3% increase over the last quarter. And we started off on a very good note on our HCL software business. We added close to $100 million revenue, which is again a very good start for a big new business model. I mean, it's been a monumental performance for our software business to set up everything and deliver over $100 million in the very first quarter. So we're very, very happy with the performance.
And what role has the IBM products played to the top line?
Yeah, approximately $100 million this quarter, yes.
And also giving a sense of the outlook for the product business, especially keeping in mind the product portfolio of the IBM as well. What's your outlook here?
Sure, the product business has certain rhythm. And since we are starting everything from scratch, this quarter is really, we've built all the infrastructure required to run a product business. Now we are establishing client contracts because we have over 15,000 customers globally for our software business now. So every quarter, certain customer contracts comes up for renewal. So we need to set up new contracts. We've appointed a number of resellers as well as business partners for the product resale. It's a very distributed presence across the globe, across many, many verticals, deep relationships. So it's got off to a flying start, I would say.
Great. Prateek, coming to you, can you also quantify what aided basically the operating margin as well?
So Nishant, I think this is as perfect a quarter as you can have. If I put it in cricketing terminology, it is a 2020 quarter.
Right.
20% year-on-year growth at 20% EBIT margins. And if you look at the first half, we hit a 4 in the quarter one.
Right.
By doing a 4+ quarter-on-quarter organic growth. And this quarter we have hit a 6 in delivering a 6% quarter-on-quarter growth. So very strong numbers. And what has aided is obviously 3/4 of that growth in this quarter came from the integration of the consummation and the integration of the acquisition. But then 1.5% growth on the balance, especially on top of 4% quarter-on-quarter last quarter, is again very strong on an organic basis. What has aided is virtually all across the verticals and geographies and the service lines. Both ITBS and ERS have also grown virtually at that 15% year-on-year growth. And of course, P&P has been 58% or thereabouts, depending on which way you look at it. So it's really been all across the board.
Right, and also how are you further planning to grow the organic business, especially at a time when the perceived slowdown in the US and Europe market as well?
So we had a pretty strong booking quarter. We closed about 15 transformational deals. So. And we've been giving a commentary of deal wins in the past quarters. So we believe we have a pretty good momentum moving forward. Mm-hmm. Of course, what is coming ahead of us is a soft quarter because of the furloughs and things like that. But we've got a good booking. Now those deals will gradually ramp up as we move forward.
And then Prateek, if you can also quantify the impact of onboarding more employees on margins.
Yeah, so we've added about 3,000 plus employees this quarter. That's in line with the growth that we are showing. In fact, we have been adding for the last 3-4 quarters sequentially good numbers in line with the top line. I mean, our revenue per employee actually keeps on going up most quarters.
And how has the expenses towards the subcontract panned out?
That's not been a major concern for us, to be honest. It has been flattish across several quarters. It's not as if it's unnaturally perking up or going down either.
And you mentioned that going ahead is a seasonally weak quarter, and other industries have also observed a muted growth going. What are your observations? What trends are you seeing there?
Yeah. I think our business momentum is in the top gear. So I do believe I'm confident of good momentum going forward. That's why we are increasing our guidance. Yeah. We gave a 14 to 16% was the guidance that we gave in the beginning of the year. Now we've increased it to 15 to 17%. Since we have had a very good H1, we do believe there'll be meaningful growth in H2 as well, so which will help us to deliver 15 to 17% overall growth. And that's really a very, very strong growth in the current environment.
And also you can add to that, what are the verticals which worked this quarter, and where are you seeing the challenges? How is the financial services panning out?
Financial services did very well this quarter. I mean, as you can see, it's grown 7% plus. And what's also interesting is the financial services mix, which used to be about 20% in the previous quarter. In the new model, it's about 22%, with a lot of software revenues coming from some of the top banks in the world. So that mix has gone from 20 to 22% in just one quarter. That's a very meaningful acceleration in what we can do and our presence in financial services. Of course, all other verticals did very well. 4 of the verticals, like life sciences, manufacturing, and a couple of other verticals did a double-digit growth, and all others did a high single-digit growth. So I think our momentum is quite broad-based. And even in the geographies, all the geographies on a quarter-on-quarter basis delivered 5 to 7%.
Is there any challenge in any of these verticals going ahead? Manufacturing there were some issues earlier quarters as well, right?
No, manufacturing, I think last quarter was a huge uptick in manufacturing. I think something like 20% growth was there, and this quarter on a quarter-on-quarter basis it's been flat, but look at the year-on-year, it's about 26%. So we believe the momentum is across the board. I don't want to call out any particular vertical, but financial services obviously will have a slightly bigger furloughs. So we expect it to be a soft quarter for that vertical, just for the next couple of quarters.
Right. And Prateek, how are you planning to consume free cash flows in terms of allocating between acquisition and giving it back to the shareholders?
So it's Diwali time, Nishant, right? So the board joins in giving a 1:1 bonus issue to the shareholders. So that is a indication that we are seeing good net income and free cash flow going forward, and that should translate to better return to shareholders in their hands as bonus shares, and then dividend on top of that, of course.
Right, and lastly, CVK, any impact on reduction on corporate rate tax by the Indian government?
In this quarter, in the US GAAP numbers, you will not see any impact. That's because the way US GAAP requires us to report the numbers. But in the Ind AS numbers, which is the Indian standard, Indian GAAP, so to say, there is a 70 odd crores extra PAT that you will see, profit after tax. And that is because of the tax rate changes which Indian GAAP allows us to start showing in this quarter itself. The rest will, in the US GAAP, it will come in the next quarter, assuming it gets passed in the parliament. So that's the impact which is there in the Ind AS numbers.
Right. It's really a pleasure speaking with you, both of you. Wishing you all the best for the upcoming quarter as well. And pleasure speaking. Thank you so much for your time and speaking to BloombergQuint.
Thank you, and happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you.